Good evening and welcome to Ancestor House. My name is Dami Akinnusi. I'm a filmmaker, broadcast journalist, working for Darkling Productions in order to bring diversity to media and telling our own stories is what it's all about. I'm very, very happy to be hosting Ancestor House with you this evening. I'm sitting in for the distinguished Nana Camille Yarborough, and I'm very happy to present a show to you which is really focused on Harlem. Harlem I absolutely love. When I came from London, Harlem was a place that I spent a lot of my time. It just oozes so much of our legacy as of African Americans, as Black people, as people of color, however we describe ourselves. It really is the fabric of that description. And on today's show, we have three wonderful women who are also part of the fabric of Harlem. They've set up their own businesses in Harlem, and they really bring a true sense of entrepreneurial spirit to what is now seen as a changing face of Harlem. They like to bring changes to their community by being active members, and this is one of the reasons why today we decided to focus on Harlem and activism. How do you clean up your community? And not just in the sense of cleaning up with the broom, but cleaning up, whether it's with cleaning up the gun crime and the gun violence, whether it's cleaning up the minds of our young people to start thinking more positively. These women are definitely representing that, and I'm very, very happy to have them on Ancestor House this evening, joining us on the panel. So come on in. This is Ancestor House. I welcome you. Enjoy. Come take a seat.
We must learn and tell our story, heal the pain and raise the glory. Tell it. We must learn and tell our story, heal the pain and raise the glory. Tell it. Not to know the family story is bad. Surveillance. Not to want to know it is worse. For to pass on ignorance to someone is like, it's like passing on a curse. And it will curse your father, curse your mother, curse your sister, curse your brother, and every time you come close to one another.
Welcome to Ancestor House. My name is Dami Akinnusi, and I'm happy to be your host for this evening's show. We have three wonderful guests this evening. Yes, I'm very excited. Very colourful ladies from Harlem, in fact. They're Harlemites. I don't know if that's how you would describe, yourselves from Harlem, but either way, please tell us who you are. Miss Harlemite number one.
My name is Sade Ayeni. I am the owner of On My Own Sade Skincare in Harlem. I've been in Harlem for about 20 years and originally from Nigeria.
Nigerian sisters in the house. Yes. Awesome.
So I've made Harlem my home. I found a second family here, and I've established a business for the last 2 decades here. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Oh, congratulations on establishing a business also. Yes, wonderful. Thanks. And our next guest, Miss Harlemite number 2.
Yes, my name is Kwanza Smith, and I've been here in Harlem for about 13 years, originally from Brooklyn, New York. And when I moved here to Harlem, I came here to open up a company called Nubian Heritage, our flagship location, and never left.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
This has been my home ever since we opened up that flagship location. Now, more recently, I'm the executive director for a merchants association called New Harlem East Merchants Association, which I'm very excited about, NEMA.
NEMA. Great name.
Yes.
Yes, has a nice sound to it. Wonderful, wonderful. And our third Harlemite.
Hi. Thank you for having me today. I'm Princess Jenkins, representing the Brownstone. The Brownstone is a contemporary lifestyle boutique for women.
We've been in Harlem for over 15 years. We have 2 locations. I'm an active member of the New Harlem East Merchants Association. I'm also neighbor to Sade on 125th between 5th and Madison, and I'm the proud founder of Women in the Black, a nonprofit for women entrepreneurs.
Wonderful. So this is beautiful to have you guys here together. Now, what brings you together outside of being Harlemites, you guys have come together obviously as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as women of color, as African women, all of these different things. But there's something that you had going on in Harlem that really represents community participation. Tell me about that. I know, Kwanza, you're the founder of this organization, is that correct?
Yes, well, we actually all sort of did it together. And I mean, I think for me, it came from seeing a lot of the small businesses, especially the Black-owned businesses in Harlem, slowly closing over the years and dropping for reasons like the rent is being doubled, or it wasn't because they didn't have a good product or they didn't have the customer clientele. It's sort of like they've been pushed out, and for me it bothered me, and I felt like, what is it that I could do and how could I contribute to making sure that the existing businesses that are still here stay here in the community as Harlem gradually changes. The changes are great, but not at the expense of small businesses and minority-owned businesses closing. So for me, I felt like, what could I do? How could I take my natural altitude and my passion and sort of give back to the community that I love so much and give back to the businesses, because that is my area of expertise.
And that's wonderful. And so, this organization, NEMA, which is a great sounding name, what was your first project, or what is your first project together? I mean, so you came together, obviously, which is the first thing, coming together, realizing there's a need for change, and now you're implementing that change. Tell me about that.
Well, the first thing actually we did today is, first we want to set up an organization so that we have somewhere that we can go, we can find financing, so we can promote our companies, our businesses, our neighborhood, trying to encourage people to actually shop in Harlem. But today we tried beautification of our neighborhoods and our community, because not only do we have the businesses there, we want people to really take us very seriously, and that our neighborhood is not a dumping ground. We want to be as elegant and as slick as any other shopping area in the city. So we took it upon ourselves with our adorable, loving leader here. We basically started from Park Avenue and cleaned up the entire block from 5th to Lexington. Collaboration with all the store owners. We took our brooms and pails, and we just really wanted to, actually I enjoyed it, because as we're cleaning up, we're finding people walking by us asking us what we're doing. I think just them seeing us,
seeing you clean up
our streets, actually made us, it legitimized things that we are here not only to stay, but we love our neighborhoods and we want some respect of our streets. And
so they were asking you,
what are you guys doing?
As in, they didn't understand the act of cleaning, or they were like, why are you cleaning? Why would you do this?
For what purpose?
For what purpose? Why would you do this for free?
Yeah,
why?
For nothing.
Yeah.
It's
That's
something that we take pride in, and it was a beautiful thing. I really thought to myself, this is actually not only a great thing to do, it's brilliant move on all of our parts, because now I see exactly just a few people who asked me that, noticed, and thanked me. Oh, wonderful! Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely. And Princess, you've been in business for 15 years.
Yes.
So we talked about how the changing face of Harlem is upon us, and in fact, the people who tend to lose out are minorities, people of color, women businesses, entrepreneurs, that type of thing. Have you been impacted by this change, or has it just been an ebb and flow?
Yeah. I think we've all been impacted, as small business owners in the community. And I've had a business, myself and my husband, who had to be relocated when upzoning started. So we were impacted by that. So certainly we are always impacted, but our love for what we do, and for Harlem especially, keeps us going and keeps us in business. So I relocated over to the east side, and my husband moved to the west side. But I think in looking at what we did today in terms of cleaning the east side, We were out in bright orange t-shirts. We had the support of the sanitation department who supplied us with supplies. We had the support of local politicians. There were young people as young as I think 8 or 9 out cleaning. We had elders. People asked if they could volunteer for the next one. It gave us a chance to knock on doors of people who didn't participate. And I think the best thing that someone said to me, they're like, oh, you know, the business owners should be out here cleaning. And I said, where are we? We're out here cleaning today. So,
exactly. And that's what's beautiful as well. It's not, you know, you actually own these businesses. You run the businesses. You're the CEOs, the directors, and that. So this is inspiring because it's not just like, okay, let's send out the employees and make them do the work, which, because, you know, we often see in the bigger, bigger companies, that's the job, the menial jobs that they give to their, you know, sort of lesser employees.
I was telling Princess, you know, in my language, to be a queen or a princess is to be of service to your community. It's not to sit on a throne and have bonbons and
petals thrown
at your feet.
Right.
You serve your people, and this is what we want to do. Not only through the businesses that we are part of our community, and to be a queen or a princess or a king is to serve your people. And that is one thing that I felt that I was doing today. I had on my knees my nice garb. We're putting wood chips and cleaning. This is how we want to show the next generation that to get anywhere is to be of service in our own community.
Thank you.
Make us last.
And that's absolutely beautiful. And you know, and what inspired you to actually come together and set up NEMA? Was there something, a catalyst that was happening? And this is we're talking about 125th Street here on the east side, right? So this is the heart of Harlem. You know, what's happening in Harlem that made you need to get on your hands and knees and start cleaning?
Well, the way 125th Street is set up is 125th Street from 5th Avenue going over to the river. It's a lot different from 125th Street, 5th Avenue going to the west. The needs are, I mean, you wouldn't even believe it, but it's completely different. It's two extremes. One of the reasons is because 125th Street West Side has a bid called the 125th Street bid. When they initially formed that bid, the property owners, I believe, on the east side did not necessarily feel the need to pay the additional property tax, or they didn't see the need to sort of come together and as a bid. And so they said no, you know, and so you'll see on 125th Street going over to the west, there's a lot of tourism, they have flags, they have a cleaning crew that cleans every day. Then when you get to 5th Avenue going to the east side, which for a long time I think wasn't as developed as it is now. A lot of the businesses that are on the east side maybe it's been the past 5 years that these businesses have opened on the east side. So you have retailers like Edible Arrangement that just opened up, Q&N Natural Food, Island Salad.
All sounds very organic and
yes,
healthy.
Exactly. I think the landlords on that side, particularly one named Nina Day Martini Day, has been an intricate part of making sure that she brought a lot of healthy alternatives, as well as just, I mean, a nice variety for the east side. So she did an amazing job with that. Then we got to the point, I think, where we said, okay, we're here now. Our needs are this. How do we solve those needs? So unofficially, we came together as an association, just as community members, and said, okay, well, the businesses are here. What could we do to increase our business? We're not a part of this, you know, that's on the west side, but what could we do to come together? So unofficially, our first event was last year. We did an outdoor festival, and we said,
oh, great.
We don't think people in the community know that we're here, or you know, or as many people should. We don't know. We don't think they know how beautiful our strip is, our corridor.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we said, let's reintroduce the community to ourselves. So what we all did was we called it the New Harlem East Merchants Street Festival. And so it was a series of about 15 merchants who came and brought their merchandise outside. So if they don't come in, let's bring it outside and show them who we are and what we do. So we had balloons set up at each of the stores, and everyone brought whatever their merchandise was outside. We printed 5,000 flyers, and we handed it out to the community, and it was
really
so
grassroots,
great.
right? Absolutely.
Very grassroots.
Yeah, and
Very grassroots.
that seems exactly what is needed, because now, a year later, you're doing these bigger events, but also, you know, you're changing people's attitudes. Right. Because, having a clean environment is... What, you know, it should be integral to, you know, just having the appreciation for, you know, yourself and your own behaviors. And you start taking responsibility for that, because it's all too easy to say, oh, well, someone else will pick it up, or we have those street cleaners. But then when you see, in fact, it's, oh, this is the lady who runs this shop. She's out here on her hands and knees cleaning up my mess. Because she loves us enough to do that. And that's a beautiful message, certainly. And one of the other things is like how, in terms of drawing attention to yourselves as businesses. I mean, you're out there and you're doing things which obviously bring the community together. But in terms of bringing this attention to yourselves, how do you create that buzz? Because as entrepreneurs, and especially, you know, women of color and African women, we do find that, you know, in terms of the media and everything, we're sometimes marginalized. The attention isn't necessarily shone on our great delight. So what kind of things are you doing to make that more prominent?
Well, and I think individually, each business has their own special branding and marketing. What is important now about NEMA is creating an environment where all of the merchants can come together and create a brand for the neighborhood, right? Dumbo, Soho, NEMA.
Okay.
Right?
So NEMA.
That's where we're going with that. So that there is a core strategy for how we build out the complete area. And not just taking responsibility for one block, but really trying to spread it out over the east side, which is why we were committed to going all the way east today so that they could see the presence. So as the merchants meet and continue to meet and build out this organization and put the money behind, because, you know, it's really all about strategically building the finances. And certainly one of the landlords, Nina De Martini Day, who we are both in her property, she understands that. So we have her push. She's talking to additional landlords. She's talking to the city and government officials. And so together, so it's a layering piece. So we figure like over the next year, if we come back, you'll see all new things that have happened for NEMA and what we're doing. So it's a strategic process of building and branding that area.
Collective branding, I think.
Collective branding.
Collective branding. Because sometimes you can't, you know, as a small business owner, you can't do it by yourself. But when we come together, you know, I think it's more impactful to the community. We saw that even, you know, just today. I mean, the feedback was amazing. And we even had people who didn't necessarily initially volunteer come and, you know, just grab a broom. Even some of the homeless men in the area, they grabbed brooms. And I think it goes back, for me, it reminded me of a speech that I heard from James Baldwin, and who's one of my favorites. And, you know, he talked about in the speech the mindset that we have in our community, and how he felt like when he went downtown, the mindset that was built was when he went downtown, this was the experience that he got. And then when he came back to Harlem, it felt like a jungle, and in turn made him feel like he was
an animal in the jungle.
And I think that is the mindset of a lot of people in our community, and it shows by sometimes the way we treat our community. It's like we go downtown, we wouldn't throw stuff, you know, like that. But when we get to our neighborhood, it's like, okay, so I think this is a small, you know, chipping at a sort of mindset that needs to change. And I think that just looking at the community's reaction and seeing us out there, we had over 40 volunteers out there that all were a conglomerate of merchants, even church reverends and elders in the community and the youth.
People really coming together.
It's just, it was absolutely amazing, and I think that the community got our message. Is this going to be, is this going to change everything?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But we want to do it. We want to do it on a consistent basis to continue to send that message. And then ultimately, you know, we had a city official, Melissa Veverito, come out.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I approached her and I talked to her about, listen, we need your support. We need better garbage cans along this corridor. We need the community board to support us, which they've been great, and she's been great in terms of supporting us. She came out today. Her chief of staff was there the entire time from morning till afternoon helping us. So just seeing everybody get together, it really, it was an impact that I'd like personally, and I know us as an association, to see more of, and more community people come out.
And you know, and there's so many different initiatives that one could come up with, you know. So you've decided on this cleaning, which I think is very important because it just shows us just at the basis of it all that, okay, tidy home, tidy mind, all of these different things, and just, you know, the appreciation for where you are and your environment. Now, in terms of the environment, you also have, like you mentioned, homeless people, people who, you know, don't have others caring for them, perhaps might have mental health issues or just being released from prison, that type of thing. So how do you see the kind of the wider picture and being able to incorporate these people into the community, have them be active participants, and, you know, almost clean up that area of things? What are some of the things that you find yourselves doing?
I was wondering why it is that, obviously, if you went downtown, you won't find a whole bunch of, on Madison Avenue downtown, you won't find bums on the street, you won't find, in our neighborhood, it seems to say it's a jungle, this is acceptable, but we don't want it. We don't want it to be acceptable. What we want to do, because I just don't understand why in our area on the east side is people come across the bridge, there's a methadone clinic right there.
Clinics.
They wander through. It's bad for business, it's bad for the neighborhood. Where else would it be acceptable in Manhattan for that to happen and for it to just go on unattended? You know, they come into the store.
Is this purposely aimed at the black community?
We don't know, but what we're saying is we have pride in ourselves. We want people to have pride in who they are. So if you want this, if people need medication, we want them to be taken care of, but if we have a business district, we want to be taken seriously as a business district. This is not somewhere we want people just to be dumped on the street. Because I actually would go outside and we talk, and I know somebody has a mental problem. They can't understand what I'm saying. It's not their fault. But here I have a woman, it's my business and it's a struggle. Is there someone in the city I can talk to? No, so I have to go out, talk to her, maybe call somebody to come, and the response of the police in our neighborhood, in our community, everything down the list is not, what we're trying to say is we have pride in our community, we have pride in our businesses, we want people to take it seriously, we want people to respect it, and that we have love and faith in our own people, in our community, but take us seriously as business owners, and that we should be able to run a business in a safe environment to where even if we had a problem, police can respond to us quickly. We don't feel that we are the ones who have to then go and explain. You don't have to do that anywhere else except in Harlem. I don't think it's acceptable for us to have to go through that, and that is part of the reason why we are cleaning. We want to put some spotlight on the problem.
Absolutely.
And this is a way of starting to get conversation in the neighborhood. People should not be roaming around in the winter who have no clothes and you're mentally ill. This is unacceptable, and it is a business district.
Right. And so you need, you know, so you need to join forces with more people to make this a driving issue that people are going to actually mention in the places that need to be mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So one of the ways that people can get in contact with you, I mean, obviously you're looking for volunteers to help come and clean, but in terms of expanding your organization, what's the criteria to be a member? Do you have to be a merchant in Harlem? How do local residents get involved? What need do you have for them? And perhaps how, if people do have ways that can help accommodate some of these people who are homeless or don't have means and ways to look after each other, how can they get involved with that?
Well, one of the things, and today what we did, and the councilwoman's office, they did was they handed out resources to the homeless men at Lexington Avenue. So they gave them a 2-pager on things that they could actually do during the day, like whether it's a food pantry or a day program for those who have mental health issues. So I think that definitely was the beginning. And just to be clear, because I think the beginning is that people in the community are not educated and are not aware of why that East Side district looks the way it does. For a fact, there are over 1,100 men on Ward's Island that are a part of Department of Homeless Services. Right out of the mouth of Department of Homeless Services, they have said they release about 700 men from the island daily. The only drop-off point is 125th Street from Ward's Island. The
Where
M30.
is Ward's Island? That's off of
the East River.
Yes,
over towards
yes, it's literally minutes coming over to Lexington Avenue, so it's the closest. But they let off 700 men onto the corner of Lexington and 125th Street. So I think that the community isn't aware. I think they think that, oh, these people just flock here maybe because of the methadone clinics and maybe because, this is just the way it's always been. So, this is the corner, this is the place. But it's not. It's a dumping ground. And whether it's on purpose or not,
It's just not
I
right.
really don't have any concern, and I don't get involved in that. However, it is a problem, and it does exist, and I think that people in the community need to be aware of it. But I think we need a plan for the men, and I think it's great what we did today, but we need to do more. It'd be nice if they could help with the cleanup and maybe get paid, or, we don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but we do want a plan, because that's 700 homeless men, which are majority minority, that don't have a plan, and not all of them. I'm not going to say all 700 men. No. Some of them go to work. Some of them just don't have a place to live, or don't have the resources, or they're just going through hard times. So, it's not about the men at all. But
they're dropped off from this island, 700. Every day into
at least
your area
700 men every day, and the reason being is because it's they call it, I think, how do you say, what's the word, transportation, because there's the bus services, the train right and there. The Metro North, and there are only 3 like that in the city, and I guess that's the 34th Street, us, and what's the third one? Or maybe there's only the 2.
59.
But if you look at the setup of a structure in 34th Street, in that, with all the congestion that they have invested the money for a structure that supports that, versus us, we have nothing. So I think that, when people ask, oh, why are you doing what you're doing? Well, it's because we have to,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just, as you talk about your businesses, obviously it has a great impact, but at the same time, it's the community, the larger community. And as you mentioned earlier, the history of Harlem, it's the Black Mecca, right? And the changing face of Harlem, as you said, being priced out, everything, the prices rising, the rents, and all of these different things, but yet you're still holding firm, and there are so many other influences that could make or break you.
Right.
So in this changing economic world and everything, plus all of these situations that are happening in terms of people needing more care and what do we do as communities to help them, how do you see yourselves in terms of business and being Black-owned businesses in the next 5 years of Harlem? Because people talk about Harlem, everyone talks about the Red Rooster and this it's like, but the new Red Rooster, right? So and to a lot of people who I speak to who are truly Harlem, they're like, no, forget about this new Red Rooster. We remember Red Rooster, So even to someone like myself who's just come in and seen Harlem still beautiful, but it's a long time since the Renaissance. So what kind of things are you doing to make sure that you have a place like in the next 5 years, despite this change?
I think that you're going to see great changes continue to happen in Harlem. Right on the corner of Lenox and 125th is being developed, and the development is coming further east. So I think that what we're doing is the right thing to do. Create a strong hall, create a strong merchants association, be able to come and talk as a voice, whether it's to a community board or politicians, and really let them understand that we are the people who employ people in the community. We are taxpayers. Some people are property owners and business owners at the same time that are a part of the group, so they get to see it from both sides. And I think just not be silent about it, but use your voice in the right way. A lot of times we're not proactive. We become active after the fact. So I think for us to sort of prepare ourselves for the next 5 years is doing what we're doing now. Right. Getting started, figuring out how to start the Merchants Association, finance it, perhaps create a bid on our side of town if need be, talk to some of the larger businesses that are over there as well, have them create partnerships with us. Those are the things that are going to be important in terms of laying out the groundwork for what the next 5 years will look like. Also, working with the landlords to identify the types of businesses that we need. On our side of town, there's a lot of healthy food choices. That is not by accident that we created that on Fifth Avenue. So the salad bar, the juice bar, Q&N, Olive Market, all healthy food choices, and probably the greatest concentration are on the east side. So we get a lot of traffic coming over from that. So keeping the streets clean. One of the things we did with Kwanza was meeting with sanitation. There is a need for garbage cans just along our corridor. It's hard to walk a block and hold a piece of paper. So we know that there needs to be one in the middle of the street, two on the corners. They need to be dumped regularly, and sort of have a voice in what we want our future to be like, as opposed to waiting for it to happen. I think is going to be key.
And I absolutely love that, having a voice of and showing and actually being the change that you want to see. And definitely in terms of the cleansing, cleaning up the community in so many more ways than one. Harlem is really a place that resonates with all of this. And in fact, the piece that we're going to show, which is at Darkling Dami About Town, this week I was able to go to Harlem, and in fact it was 125th and Adam Clayton Powell. It was the anti-gun violence rally, and it was basically a lot of mothers, but obviously family members, people who've lost people to gun violence, and people who are just, interested in the subject matter and have a voice or an opinion about it. In this 5-minute piece, you'll see what happened, and it'd be great to discuss it with Harlemites afterwards. It's called At Darkling Dami About Town, New Yorkers Against Gun Violence. And if we'd like to show the piece, please enjoy.
Have you ever had to say goodbye to someone that you loved and they went ahead of their time and unexpectedly? Some people never recover from the sorrow or the sadness. We must stop. We must stop.
Like I have, and I stand here for all the lives lost.
I couldn't tell that was my son. I literally watched the blood run from his head, and I kept saying, why won't they stop the bleeding? Why won't they stop the bleeding, not knowing that he was brain dead? People, please stop the pain. You don't know the pain I'm in. You don't know the pain. You don't know how I can't sleep. I can't eat. It's so hard. Please stop the violence.
died from gun violence since 1968 exceeds the total number of people killed in all of our wars since we founded as a nation. 31,000 every year, 32 a day, 8 or 9 kids a day. In any other country, this would be unacceptable. And if this were anything other than guns, if, say, their playground equipment were malfunctioning or food poisoning, there would be immediate change in Washington. But because it's guns and because the National Rifle Association is so aggressively lobbying politicians and made them frightened, threatening to turn them out of office with their money if they dare to vote for any sensible gun laws, we've not been able to make any progress.
What it looks like after a young person is shot on these streets, it ain't nothing to play with. You can't put it back together. You can't bring the life back. Ask about the violence that they face in the street, the kid who is bullying them, because good kids pull triggers too. When you say not my kid, can be your kid. Dead on the other side, behind bars, mentally and spiritually.
Stop the violence now! Stop the violence now! Stop the violence now!
There are people who will support it if they just know what to do, if we can reach them. So it's really all about grassroots organizing, and our movement has not been very good about that. We have been really bad, in fact. And I think it takes a sustained effort. It takes resources. I think, the parents in Newtown, the grief is still so new, and initially they were in shock, of course, losing their babies that way. And some of them have begun to speak out, and they will. I know they will. You see a lot of people who've suffered from gun violence personally. I mean, I have, which is why I got into this area. My brother was murdered. You can't just have all the victims, and you can't get involved until wait till something happens to you. I mean, I think as a society, we should look at what's happening and say, is this worthy of us? Or is this something that truly reflects who we are as a people? That we are tolerating this level of carnage. We're doing it to ourselves.
I'm very committed for the next, till it happens, to eliminate all assault weapons in America. Assault weapons are for war. And we live in a great country where we shouldn't have people fighting one another with weapons that are so strong. There should be no assault weapons, because we the people, that's how it's built. The Constitution is built, we the people. It's stronger than NRA. Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, our political system and many things in life are fueled by money. This area is no different. So people can overcome that, I think, and if enough people get together and, not just march on Washington, but flood these politicians with phone calls, emails, and then when they vote the wrong way, turn them out of office. That's the only, and put up candidates who are actually going to reflect what the people want.
Accomplish what you will. Accomplish what you will.
Okay, so that was Darkling Dami About Town, a little piece that I did just to show some of what the current affairs are that are happening in our communities. And like yourselves, is about trying to shine light on things that do affect us and, and creating the futures that we want to see. So as with this, gun violence, resonates with a lot of people, as does what you guys are doing as well. How do you find that, this whole grassroots movement that seems to be happening just in all areas of social change, how do you find yourselves as part of that fabric? There's a lot of conversation, especially when we look at gun violence, we look at the Sandy Hook, obviously, and we focus on that, such a tragedy, but sometimes we forget the Trayvon Martins and others that, in communities that we see every day dying on our streets. With the aid of yourselves trying to change this and changing our attitudes, what else can be done?
I'm always thinking about the roots of things, the roots of how this culture, this country started in itself. how guns and paranoia and how people distrust and why there is guns and why people hold on so hard onto their guns is because they still don't have any faith and trust in their neighbors. And again, I don't think they have any trust in us as a community, because you go to England, nobody has guns. Anywhere else, nobody has guns. Even the police don't have guns. Here, we have no respect, we have no understanding of each other, so that, you know, the pervasiveness of guns is just to scratch the surface. Is what's the root problem is this distrust, the dislike, the no knowledge about each other, and thrown into a culture where, you know, gun has been used to subjugate and put down and really oppress people. So then when you turn around, you're afraid that the slaves themselves are going to take the same guns and kill you. So you want to have it and hold, but what you think is going to defend you is what is really going to kill your children. We are whole communities. You can't divide white against black because the bullet doesn't know that. What we need to do is a psychological reevaluation of who we are as American people, and not to see ourselves as a whole unit. I think if we start understanding where all of this comes from, it's not just the guns itself, it's the understanding of ourselves as American people, and not to be so afraid. I think guns would be of no use if
the fear was taken away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fear or the paranoia, and people who feel powerless and fearful of you think they need this to defend themselves against you.
And sure, what about this powerlessness? I mean, this is something, I mean, what you guys are doing now obviously is trying to affect that change.
Yeah.
And it is psychological as well. Right. I mean, sometimes people see someone of color and there's an instant stereotype that is, ooh, you know, so many emotions and everything.
No, I mean, we feel the same to ourselves. You see, sometimes you're on the train, you see your brother, you might want to do this. It's so subtle, it's so psychologically put into our heads that you have to start re-examining your feelings. Start to put yourself in the present thinking, no, maybe that is my brother. Let him sit there, be comfortable, be at peace. This is something that we have to work out before we can say we're going to take the guns out of people's hands. Sure. And then again, to actually respect and love ourselves is going to make sure that when you see him or her coming towards you, we have a lot of subconscious dislike of ourselves.
Absolutely.
And so we see that we instantly distrust each other. And what we reach for is, whatever it is, a weapon. Sure. And Europeans have used the weapon against us. They don't need to do that anymore. We use it against ourselves. It's because we don't love us.
Absolutely. And so finding this love for ourselves, I mean, a lot of us find it in the different things that we do, so in terms of our businesses as well, so especially like with the Brownstone, this in terms of business is definitely focused on people of colour and trying to elevate and you know, bring inspiration to them, and this is definitely what Ancestor House is certainly about. How can people find you? Tell us a little bit more about Brownstone as well.
Well, the Brownstone is easily found in Harlem. We're definitely stable in Harlem. We've been here since '98. We're on 125th Street between 5th and Madison. We opened the second location in 2011, which is on Lenox Avenue between 141st and 142nd. They can certainly go to our website just to learn more about us at www.thebrownstonewoman.com. We're open 7 days a week on 125th Street, 6 days a week on Lenox Avenue. And just ask around. I think pretty much everybody can point you in our direction in Harlem.
And that's a great thing. You know, word of mouth coming together and you know, building the future that you want to see. So, and also you, as you said, you've created NEMA. You have, you know, fastly building up a great crew of people to represent these very important issues. What in terms of everything else that you're doing, how are people drawn to you? How can they find you? What are some of the things that, you know, draw us together as a community, that they can find you on that level, whatever it might be that they want to assist in cleaning, they might just want to come and find the businesses, you know, a place to find out Harlem, what's going on in Harlem, let me come and visit you. Hopefully our audience today will like be tapping on their laptops right now or on their phones, just trying to find out how they can access you and your amazing entrepreneurial spirit.
I think for Nima, the easiest way would be, we do have a Twitter page, Nima 125th. And we are currently working, just because we're newly incorporated, we're currently working on the website. I think that would definitely be up in another, let's say, month. And that's going to be www.nima125th.com. And they can email to Nima, which is NHEMA 125th, TH, @gmail.com. So for now, that's what we have. But I think as we, create more initiatives this year, we'll have more avenues, and certainly because the community will be able to see all of the different merchants that are involved, because it is a collective effort as an association. So they'll know, all of our marketing will have, her address and her address, and just all the different businesses collectively. You'll see, let's say pamphlets out or email blasts, and we'll have newsletters that go out every month. So these are all things that are in the works right now. But those are the sort of 3 ways currently you can reach out to us and find out what we're doing.
And that's wonderful that it's a portal that just from coming to Nima, you'll be able to find all of the other shops, stores, businesses, everything that's going on, and and then supporting each other, and that's a beautiful thing. And also, Sade, with you have a skincare collection, is that correct?
Yes, I have beauty. I sell skincare and cosmetics because, again, we want African American women to start redefining their own concept of beauty. Again, we want to reflect their own beauty back to them because it's not out there in publication. We are on 11 East 125th Street across from Princess. So not only does she clothe the queens and princesses of our neighborhood, they come, we beautify them, we want them to really feel good about themselves and go out there and make fabulous wives, great careers, whatever they want to do, just do it with pride and shoulders back. And
so do you teach some of this as well?
I literally do.
You do?
I literally do. Because
the whole shoulders back thing, posture and everything.
Shoulders back, your posture. I think, again, Yorubas have a thing that says iwalewa, meaning your personality really is your beauty.
Yes.
So if you exude a certain positive energy, you attract it. Sure. So, you can paint your face, you can put whatever it is on, but if you have this low self-esteem, you don't put forth something that you want to get for yourself. And that's really, I just use makeup as a tool to get that out. But then when they see themselves and they see the beauty that I see in them, it just exists naturally. And that's what we want to do. We want them to see that inner beauty, bring it out. And it's so powerful because nobody can then take that away from you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's definitely a way in, right?
Most definitely.
Appealing to the people in whichever way that serves them. Now, you mentioned to Yoruba as well, which is my family heritage. Now, this historic element of who we are, as African women, and it's just beautiful to see just a mixed range of women here, all just like beautifully radiant and everything. It's a wonderful thing, and being Harlemites as well.
Right.
And as business women, do you find that there's a particular struggle with having to maintain a certain image at the same time, saying, well, actually, I get my hands dirty, I run the business, I'm a mother at home, I have all these different hats. How do you maneuver through that world? And I'm saying that also for our audience who, some are starting up their businesses, they see themselves as entrepreneurs, they haven't quite taken that step yet into maybe incorporating their business, but they really have that passion. And now that they found themselves, they've got their face of makeup, they're ready to go. Like, what are the steps that they can take to really, to find that footing?
I know for me, it starts in the mind for me, and having the will. So I'm a single mom, and I'm wearing several hats. In the daytime, I'm doing affordable housing in Harlem, as well as being the executive director now for NEMA. You know, people ask me all the time, how do you get everything done? For me, this is something that I started doing, and when I started, I have not been able to stop. I think as women, we need our time. Sometimes we wake up, we have to get kids ready, you know, we have to get ourselves ready, we have to take them to school, and then we have to get to work, and then and then we don't have that time for ourselves. For me, it seem a little extreme, but I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every morning.
Extreme. That's the middle of the night. Forget about extreme.
You know, I'm in bed by 8, and I think everybody needs to decide when it works. But it came because I had a deadline, and I had this project that I was doing, and I needed time where I didn't have my son on my leg, and you know, I didn't have the pressures of work during the day, and I just said, okay, let me just get up to get this done. But then I liked it, and then I said, let me do my yoga, let me do my meditation time, let me read a book, and I started to enjoy the time, because I'm like, man, where has this been? Wow. I needed this all my life, and then, you know, so I take that, I make that sacrifice. No one has to be as extreme as I am, but at this point, I just absolutely love it. So it's, even if it's 1 hour that you get up early to commit to doing something that you're passionate about, because, you know, when you, let's say, have a husband and you have family, and it's consuming, and it pulls a lot out of you. It's so important for us as women, I think, to replenish ourselves. You have to take that time. So even if it's the weekend or whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about, take time, discipline yourself, even if it's 1 hour, to take the time and do what it is that you love, that you don't have anyone else around you. I think for me, that's the most important thing. Committing it to my mind that this is something that I want to do, and then actually discipline. Yes, exactly.
Making it a habit.
Yes. Like, committing to it, and saying, all right, if this is what I want to do, where am I going to take the time to actually get it done, and then discipline myself to actually get up and do it. Well, you know, exactly, and do it, and I think that's important, you know.
Awesome. And Princess, you know, with the longevity of having a business, and you know, businesses, you know, so you're setting up the franchise and everything, how do you find that time for you, and how do you, you know, continue with the persistence to carry on when sometimes carrying on is just like feels too much?
Yes. How do you?
Well, my passion is women in business. As I said before, I have a nonprofit called Women in the Black. And you know, there's women who have ideas, and women who have started businesses, and women who have failed in business and started again. And you know, one, it is having a great idea, being extremely passionate about it, and I know, you know, I can speak for Sade, is really loving the business, right? So I wake up every day and go to the business, but I know I'm going to meet great people. Some of my friends are going to come through. I'm going to meet someone from across the country. So I go to work every day with a great expectancy, but it is a lot of work, you know, and a lot of commitment. I do have a family and a daughter, and that takes its own set of commitment. But, you know, I'm all in. And I think that the key is winning in business is how to be all in. So that means, all in, right. You know, some people are half in, they got a toe in, some people are up to the ankle. Yeah, because it's scary. You know, Sade, you know, it's scary, and people are fearful, and these are tough times. So, you know, you have to be all in. Like, are you going to bring all your rocks to the playground, or are you going to leave some home? And I think when you're all in and you're 100% committed, then you do everything that you need to do to sort of grind it out and make it successful. And sometimes the universe is working with you, and sometimes it's working against you, and sometimes the economy is working for you, and sometimes it's working against you. So I think being real clear about what it is you want to do. And then also I think the big key for women is asking for help. You know, I need some help. Can you help me? I need a moment. I need 10 minutes. You know, I need you to take the kids to school today. You know, I think asking for help. And I heard somebody say the other thing, that when men get an opportunity, they don't wait to make sure they know everything before saying yes to the opportunity. They say yes and then figure it out. And then women, on the other hand, they want to, you know, we want to know.
Absolutely.
Versus just taking it on. So that's also a little thing that we have to work on.
So you're saying take the risk, forget about
You're not going to know
everything.
everything. You're not going to know everything in a new business. You're going to learn as you go and as you grow. I'm 20, 30 years in, and I'm still learning. I'm still looking for mentors. I'm still reading books. I'm still taking classes. I'm still. And because we have to stay relevant in the new economy.
Constantly grow as well.
Yeah.
And as you say, this new economy, a lot of us are just trying to get ourselves around dealing with that. And oftentimes we just look at what's happening in the mainstream media and think, oh, it's all over. But yet, you know, you're sitting here, you have your businesses, you're still going for it. In fact, you've come together collectively. I liked what you said earlier about, you know, the Yoruba bringing your full personality. Sure. And I think, you know, just in terms of, you know, bringing that together as our last point and like drawing it back to our ancestral heritage of Africa is very important. No matter, you know, how we define ourselves, I mean, we use people of color, black, African, African-American, black, British, all these different boxes that we can tick. But so, you know, just remind me of that and why it is that it's essential for knowing who we really are to pour out of us in terms of our own endeavors.
You know, Yorubas, again, I go back to the way I was raised, is that, you know, we can really do everything. A woman, you can be the mother, you can be in the marketplace, and then, again, to have an egbe, Yorubas call it egbe, meaning your age groups. It's so super important that I miss that here. In Africa, egbe meaning your age mates. So somewhere where women go and men have their own too, where you sit and you talk. And you say, this is my problem, this is my concern. There's no, you know, psychology place that you go lay on the couch, but it's your egbe that you talk to. You reason out. But we are so put into our little holes and apartment to sit by yourself. That is the prison that we put ourselves in. She knew, like, when I was looking around crying, I went to her. She goes, Tarry, why didn't you come to me and ask me first? You need to reach out. You need to open your mouth. You need to ask for the help. And we need to have, kind of like where we're saying we have this organization, it's very important for women in this culture, especially African-American women, to have the egbe so we can see what it is, our plight in our community. As businesswomen, as mothers, I have twins and I'm running around trying to balance having the children, having a business. I can go and have my own egbe that our ancestors actually helped us establish. We need to get back to that.
Wonderful. And just remind me of bringing your personality forward. That's Iwa.
Iwalewa.
Iwalewa. Iwalewa.
Yes.
Okay, so today we've had on this beautiful show, Ancestor House, with beautiful, beautiful African women. I've been so blessed to have Princess, to have Kwanza, and to have Sade. All wonderful, beautiful names, just like rolling off your tongue. Thank you so much. This is the egg bear that we've had. I hope our audience go out and enjoy egg bear amongst themselves. I think it's so important and, you know, just so wonderful. Harlemites, beautiful African sisters, running your own businesses and, you know, an inspiration to many. And this is really what Ancestor House is about. And then just drawing it back to Africa as well. So beautiful. And, you know, once again, thankful to have you on the show. And I hope everyone goes in search of you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, very nice.
It's so great to have you all. And I really hope, you know, to see success of people and to reach the
We must learn and tell our story, heal the pain and raise the glory. Tell it. We must learn and tell our story, heal the pain and raise the glory. Tell it. Tell it. Not to know the family story is bad. Not to want to know it is worse. But to pass on ignorance to someone is like, it's like passing on a curse. And it will curse your father.